Alright, welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning in to Johnny's Motorized Bicycles. As always, I am glad you're here. So what do we got going on today? Well, we got something pretty good today. So this is a little bit of a side project that I want to do. The motor that you see in front of you, that's my Vanna White impression. This is Benny's motor. Why is it in front of you? Because I have already done a lot of work to this and I actually ran this thing on Tweaker for quite a while. Well, one, I think I can get more out of it. And two, which is the main reason, it was about ready to go onto his bike. So I wanted to put the YD back on Tweaker, and when I took it off, it had broken bolts. I had no idea that it had broken mount bolts. It has one in the back that's busted off in there. So I have to go through it and get that fixed. But when I took the exhaust off, out of the port popped a tiny little rabbit, believe it or not. And I tried to grab him up, but he ran. These little things are quick. So that little rabbit took off. Yeah, I see it, bro. Calm down. So me and her think we can get more power out of this bad boy. We're not going for a lot because we all know how Benny is, and if there's anything he's good at doing, it's breaking stuff. And right now it does make good power, but it doesn't make great power, and it is definitely reliable. But that being said, I think we can make a little bit better power, and I want to clean the motor completely up because this is going to be going onto his brand new bike that's never even been ridden yet. So I want to make sure it is fresh to death, meaning I'm going to probably throw it all in the ultrasonic cleaner and really scrub it up real good so that when he gets it for his, it is just mint. This is an iron sleeve motor, and his bottom end, he's going to be using it as a daily, so I don't want to put that much power to it because it is a daily. All right, let me break this down a little bit. I want to put the degree wheel on here just to double check the numbers. All right, I don't think you guys are going to be able to even see this, but I'm going to try to show. I want you to look at the wrist pin itself. It's actually moving in the wrist pin lands, or I don't know, the ring, I don't know what you call it, the shoulder that the wrist pin sits in the piston. It's moving up and down on this side and definitely on that side. So maybe the piston is just shot or something. I really don't know. What I do know for sure is that's no good. So I can use this piston to make the marks that I need for the new measurements for what I'm gonna do. I guess we'll take it from there. What else I'm gonna do to the motor, I haven't made up my mind yet. I do have an idea on something I might like to do. I don't know if I'm gonna. It's a lot of work, and I'm really not trying to get that involved. It's supposed to be a quick flip. But now that I know stuff, I just want to do that stuff. Does that make sense? I just want to do it to everything because the more I do it, the more efficient I'll become at it, and the more like second nature it will be to do it. And once I learn that so well, I'll be able to do the next thing even better. Yeah. All right, I got to put this back on and just get a couple more measurements, and then I'll know exactly what I'm going to do, and I'll let you know from there. But for now, what you need to know is I think the piston's screwed up. I should have another one. If that's the case, hopefully that's it, and we can keep moving on from there, but we'll get everything lined out. And when you look inside here, boy, you can see a lot of, well, not issues, but I mean, I did really well at getting these opened up with the tooling that I had, but we could do much, much better. All right, I think we can make a lot more power with this, but I'm not gonna go crazy. I just cracked open Benny's motor. Not good at all. I probably will. Yeah. All right, let me get farther, I'll be back. All right, so we're putting it back together now. I had to give myself a squish band for it. It's just like the one I did for the Minarelli recently. They have like a weird squish band in my opinion, and if you don't have a proper squish band where the piston goes basically flush right into it, you get a weird measurement. You basically get like a pinch point as far as the squish goes. So you can see what it looks like. Hopefully you guys can see how it looks. It's really symmetrical from start to finish. It was 0.8 after a couple heat cycles. I think we'll get down to a 0.7, so I'm happy with that. Everything else is done. All I gotta do is put it back together. The numbers, the transfers are a 132 and the exhaust is a 190. This thing should rev crazy. Squish is 0.8, blowdown of 29. I'm excited about this one. I really think we're gonna have ourselves a little screamer that should pull pretty hard. Okay guys, I completely forgot to actually hit the record button, so we are in the middle of drilling out these two studs. It's the last thing I have to do to this motor. So I center punched them both, I oiled them both. Now I'm drilling the first one. I just got this one out, the easy out that I used. It worked. First time I ever used them. Now, let's do the next. The problem was, and why it was so hard to get out, I had already helicoiled both of those bolts in the back. So once I figured that out, I was able to get the helicoil out and the rest of the bolt that was in the bottom. The other one, you know, I had already gotten out completely with the easy out. So I had one easy out and one hard out. The front ones, I re-chased the threads with the tap. I had a bottom tap that I like to chase everything with. The one in the back, I re-helicoiled it, and I also put a little motor seal on the inside. Now normally you would use, like, say, Loctite, preferably the green one. I don't have that, so I used motor seal instead. I wanted to make sure it had a good seal, because inside, how narrow it is, you just can't see in there and get the light and your head and eyeball in it at the same time. But there was like a air bubble maybe or something at the side of the threads. And my drill was on the other side, so I know it wasn't from me drilling. It could either be a hole in the casting or it's air bubble in the casting. So whatever it is, I wanted to make sure I put a little motor seal. Not going to be an issue, no air leaks. I don't remember this ever having an air leak, so I don't think that's actually going to be a problem, because it wasn't a problem before. But just to be on the safe side, we're going to go with extra precautions and make sure we're good no matter what. The next step is going to be taking apart the reed. That should be real simple and easy. Make a new gasket for the carburetor and bolt that all on, and then we'll put the mountain hardware on and it can go on the bike. Okay, next. This was a horrible gasket, so I made a new one. Yep. I had to cut 2 new studs. I have a bunch of studs I was going to use originally for the Franks, but it turns out that the studs were not aluminum and they're steel, so they're also a little too short. So they don't work for the motors, but they do work for the rear mounts if you cut about 1 inch off. So I just cut them. I've beveled the edges so you can get a nut on, or thread that into the case easily. I mounted up the front mount. Rear mount is on. Everything is on. Spark plugs in. Carburetor's on. Reed is on. We are good to go for tomorrow. We are outside on the 49mm iron sleeve. What are we doing? We're making room to get in here because I got a lot of projects sitting down here in the mess of things. So if you guys like all this stuff, make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit the subscribe and the little bell notification. I'd appreciate it. Share it, pass it along and all that. This is something that is interesting that we'll be playing with soon. I just got to get this motor on first. This might be one of the first projects we do once I get that motor on. You see that? That's moving, but the other valve is actually not moving. So, yes. That is a big ant nest. Holy. Let's hope they don't start fighting me. Okay, so, you guys all know what this is. This is the 50cc that is on Purple Nightmare. The bike is Purple Nightmare, the motor is a 50cc. Now, the 50cc we just put on here. You guys think I just put it on here with the last video I put up, but I didn't actually just put it on here. I actually put it on a month and a half, 2-ish months ago. I never even got to really ride it except for like once, and I don't even think I got it on film. It was just something I, just rode to the store or something one day. Heather was riding it a lot, and at the current moment, it is completely locked up. Right here, look. I'll just lift the whole bike up with the wheel. The motor is frozen solid, so that really stinks, but it is what it is. She didn't do it on purpose, but she was basically the one riding it, breaking it in for me, and she rode it down a steep hill at pretty much full bore and overspun it. So it's coming off. We have to rebuild it. That's okay. Like you guys saw in the video, when I built this, I built it like 3-ish years ago, and I know I can do much better.
Do you need another gas?
Yeah.
Where's the oil?
Upstairs, it's a purple container, Royal Purple. Remember that thing you took upstairs?
Oh, okay.
The measuring cup? Mix ratio. We go 40 to 1. 3.2 per gallon, so it's 6.4 ounces.
6.4 ounces.
Okay, fuel is flowing. That is working. We got to get the clutch and we got to get the exhaust upstairs. F2 thruster. And a little thingy that holds the clutch on. Cable stay. I don't know. That sounds like a good word. Cable stay. I think that's the right one. Now for the exhausto mundo. I'm not actually trying to flatten it. It was just, this has been sitting on my porch for a couple of years now, I guess. But it has got a little bit of rust on the manifold. So clear that off real fast. Everything seems okay. We should have enough fuel for a start. We have a clutch, we have a chain. I'm gonna grab them in backwards orders. We have everything that we should basically need for the most part. Right? Just going over, throttle's on, brakes are braking. So I guess we're about good. I think we're about as good as we're gonna get. Okay guys, let's see what happens. Choke off. Start right up on the first pop. Guys, what do you think? I'm pretty happy with that. It runs good, it idles pretty good. We got to go through everything real quick, tighten it all up. But I feel more than safe letting this walk down the street. The settings the carb's at right now, it's got a 92 jet in it. I think it's a little fat. I think it could probably be a 90. But since this is really first startup with that new wrist pin and all and the whole revamp of that, I'm gonna let it ride, but it sounds great. I'm happy with it. I'm very, very happy with it. We're gonna take Purple Nightmare out for a ride. Heather got to ride it yesterday. It's an iron sleeve, that's why you gotta give it an extra minute to warm up.
Gotcha.
It sounds really good with this one there.
Is it loud?
Yeah.
Just don't like bringing attention to myself.
Oh, it's guaranteed.
Wonderful.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Bye. Love you. Thank
Yep,
you.
love you too. Have fun, be safe. Your lights are blinking, don't forget to turn them off.
Got it.
There you go. I want to experience it just to make sure everything's good with it. Give it a once over before we send it down the road. So let me get the bike out so we can go. Now this should be a little bit loud because it's got the F2 on it. F2 thruster from Bikeberry. All right guys, let's get it warmed up.